Hey Junior Committee, thank you so much for this interview. I'm really excited to share more about Reserva and why we do what we do.
Hi Callie, my question for you is, why did you start Reserva?
I started Reserva about 1.5 years ago, and the idea was really to bridge that gap that I saw between conservation organizations around the world and all the young people around the world who are so motivated and inspired to take action, but didn't really have a platform that was built for them to take direct action.
Hi, my name is Tyler. My question is, what is the first Reserva project?
I organized Reserva around this first project idea of creating the world's first entirely youth-funded nature reserve. And the idea was to prove that young people have financial power, that they don't just have a voice. They can raise money and they can donate to causes at really high rates.
Hey Callie, where's the reserve located?
So our first conservation goal is to create the world's first entirely youth-funded nature reserve. What we've done is we've teamed up with an organization called Rainforest Trust, who are based in the US, and their partner, Fundación Ecominga, who is based in Ecuador. And we've identified a site that's in Ecuador. It's about 244 acres, and it's in the Ecuadorian Chocó cloud forest. So you've probably heard of the Amazon rainforest, but this is west of that in the Andes mountain range along the coast of Ecuador. And the site is just up in the tip of Ecuador, just on the border of Colombia. And it's incredibly biodiverse, but it's also extremely threatened by deforestation.
My name is Natalia. I live in Ecuador. What is the Reserva goal to protect the planet?
So we are working with youth around the globe, including all of you guys, to fundraise enough to protect this patch of rainforest. And once we finish that initial reserve, which is called Dracula Youth Reserve, our goal is to keep going. We want to create a network of youth-funded reserves all around the globe.
Hi Callie, I have a question about the project in Ecuador. How much space have we already gotten with all the money that we have raised?
That's a great question. So we have raised about $54,000, every single dollar of which has been matched by our partners Rainforest Trust. And that means that we have about $35,000 left to raise to complete this first 244-acre reserve, Dracula Youth Reserve in Ecuador. So that means that we have protected about 150 acres of land. And 150 acres of land is really huge. An acre is close to a football field or to a small, like a school soccer field. So imagine 150 of those. It's really big. And $35,000 might sound like a lot of money. $3 goes a really long way. $5 protects 600 square feet of rainforest, which is larger than my apartment. We can get there little by little.
¿Y cuáles son tus plantas y animales favoritos de la reserva?
Oh man, what is my favorite animal? That is such a hard question. This reserve is so full of wildlife, and I've been lucky enough to visit it twice. On 2 expeditions with Ecominga and with some of the Reserva Youth Council. And I haven't gotten to see any of the large mammals yet. So we have 3 species of monkey that are known to live on this property, including the critically endangered brown-headed spider monkey. But of what I've seen, I think my favorite animal is the Bolita glossa. That's a genus of arboreal salamander. So it's these salamanders that live in trees, and they actually don't have lungs. They breathe through their skin. And one really cool fact about Bolita glossas is that they have the fastest tongue in the animal kingdom. So pretty cool what you can find in the forest.
Kinga, I live in Miami, Florida. Can you tell us a little bit more about the 30 by 30 campaign and why is it important to protect 30% of the planet by 2030?
Yeah, so the 30 by 30 campaign is the idea that we need to protect a certain amount of Earth for nature. We can't just allow humans to take over all of nature and use it all to our benefit, because Earth's natural resources are kind of like a bank account. You can withdraw and you can withdraw and you can withdraw, but if you don't sometimes allow your savings to grow, then eventually you're going to run out of resources. There's a great scientist whose name is E.O. Wilson, and he came up with the idea of half Earth. And he estimated that we would need to protect about half of our planet for nature to enable humanity to keep surviving at the current pace. And so this 30 by 30 project is a benchmark on the way to that goal.
Hi Callie, can you explain more about the importance of biodiversity and what is causing the loss of biodiversity on our planet?
Biodiversity is really important. It's kind of like a fabric in a way. So if you think about the planet and all of its organisms, all of the different types of life, the different species of plants and animals that live on this planet, imagine each one as a thread making up a fabric. As you start losing those threads, if you pull the threads out one at a time, the fabric becomes weaker and less resilient. And that's kind of what happens to Earth when we start losing species at alarming rates. And right now we're losing species at around 1,000 times the normal extinction rate. So we need to preserve biodiversity because not only because it's worth preserving just through its inherent right to exist, but also because we rely on biodiversity to keep us safe, to keep us healthy, to provide medicines, to provide food, and to be resilient. So, you know, when a disease comes through and is capable of wiping out a single species, it doesn't wipe out every species within that genus. But lastly, it's important because it's interesting and it deserves to exist. Life is way cooler, way more fun when you're in a biodiverse place. So if you go to the jungle and you look around and you can just see these trees teeming with life. Every single tree is like a hotel for animals and other plants. It inspires you and sparks curiosity. And I think that's something that we need. Just as much as we need medicine, just as much as we need food, I think that we need those things that spark wonder and curiosity. And that's something that biodiversity provides.
Hi Callie, what can we do in India to help Reserva the most?
In India, there's actually a lot you can do to help the rainforest in Ecuador and to help Reserva with this goal. I would say the number one thing would be collecting letters from your friends. So I don't think I mentioned this yet, but we have this campaign called the Million Letters Campaign, where we're asking youth all around the world to write a letter saying why you love nature and why world governments need to commit to protecting at least 30% of our planet by 2030. And if you write that letter, we'll match it with $3 toward the reserve. Not only that, but when we donate that $3 toward the reserve, Rainforest Trust will match that. So your letter is actually able to protect a whole classroom-sized area of rainforest. So one thing you can do in India is actually just get your friends to write letters. Get everyone you know. Another thing you can do is help your friends and your family locally to be much more eco-conscious. So consume less, reduce your consumption, recycle what you can, reuse what you're able to reuse, and that will have a ripple effect that does help us in Ecuador. It might seem really far away, but climate change is something that's global and it's affecting the rainforest in Ecuador, and it's something that you can have an impact on from where you live in India. Another thing you could do is think up a fundraiser idea. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to raise money from doing chores, like from your parents or from your community, but you could do something online. For example, Run for the Rainforest, which we're going to be doing again in April, from April 22nd to May 22nd. So you can get your friends and family and everyone you know to sign up for that again when it comes around. Thank you so much for this interview. It is so nice to have you all on the Junior Youth Council. And I really appreciate everything that you're doing to make the world a better place, to help Reserva and this community that we've built together to achieve our goal of creating the world's first entirely youth-funded nature reserve, and for contributing toward our Million Letters campaign to tell world leaders that we need to protect 30% of our planet by 2030. I am so proud of all of you. I'm really excited that you're on my team, and talk to you soon.